my first question is, what was going on with you before you kind of found me, before we started working together? Like, what's your relationship with food?
Oh my gosh, Rachel. Oh my gosh. So at first I want to say thank you for everything that you do because you really saved my life. That is the truth. Before I met you, I was really depressed. I would emotionally eat all the time, every single day. I was coming home binge eating until I was sick. I was not fulfilled in my life. I didn't have hobbies. I didn't have friends. Food was all that I truly had. And I was stuck in this job that I didn't believe that I could do anything different. And so I didn't realize that my beliefs could be wrong, right? I was like, these are my beliefs, they're the truth. Why would I question that? And so I was finally fed up and I thought, I'm going to see what's out there. I thought about Overeaters Anonymous and it didn't really resonate with me. And so I just did a quick search and you popped up and I thought, I'm going to try this, Rachel. Her testimony is fabulous. And so it blew my mind and I couldn't get enough and I still can't get enough. Every bit that you do, I want to learn, I want to hear. Because it always helps. There could be something that I may not realize that I need help with, like the, excuse me, like the sabotage. And when you said that, I was like, oh my gosh, that is what's going on, is that protection is coming up for me. And so, yeah, I was in a really bad place, probably the worst place of my life before I met you.
Oh my goodness. Am I right in assuming then, Shanda, that you probably tried things prior to sort of finding me?
Oh, so many diets. Every diet that you've mentioned, just about Atkins, the cabbage soup diet, Weight Watchers. I, I struggled with eating disorders when I was in high school, just that anorexia and then bulimia and really everything, just thinking that my body was the problem. And any diet, hoping that that would be the thing that would change my entire life, not realizing that that was not where the work was. It was really in my heart.
What actually made you decide to sign up to one of my programs? Can you remember?
Yes. So, what you were saying about your journey and where you came from and your relationship with food, you were the first person that I ever came across that said, I used to binge eat. And I thought, oh, she gets it. She gets it because nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about the binge eating. No one's talking about the overeating. It's just, what's the next diet? And so, when I realized you got it, and this was a path that I'd never taken before. I was ready. I was to that point before I met you that I needed something. And when I saw your program, I was like, this is it. This is something that I'm going to go all in with and just really be open and explore. And I think your testimony is really what convinced me.
What do you think's been the biggest shift or the biggest kind of result that you've experienced since sort of being in my programs?
Emotions was a big thing for me in the beginning, feeling my emotions. I didn't want to feel anything. It was too overwhelming for me. And so and also grounding. I remember the first program I went in and you talked about grounding, just imagining that light coming through the top of our head and all the way through our body. I did that several times a day. And one thing I realized is I wasn't in my body. And so being in my body was a little scary at first because I had to feel. I had to feel all the things I didn't want to feel. And so then the EFT tapping became huge for me because I could shift that. I could get that energy out of my body and reset and say, okay, what's next? And not feel like I had to eat all the cookies and run.
Yeah. What's your relationship with food like now?
It is night and day. Now, there are times where I get extremely overwhelmed with work. And so, here recently, so I found a new job. So, I'm grateful for that. So, I went into management. And so, I was able to do that because I really tackled my life and I took control of my life. And so now I'm moving on into something that's going to allow me more time for myself. And so through that process, I had not struggled with binge eating, emotional eating, or anything of that nature. And what I realized is the stress is the most that I think I've ever felt in this position. And so really when that happens, just resetting and being like, okay, what is my next step? What can I do next? What overwhelmed me? I missed it before it got to that point where I felt like I needed to just eat. And so trying to be more aware and pause throughout the day and ground and make sure that I'm relieving some of my stress before it gets to that point where I just feel like it's too much.
Yeah, and then that's helping you then kind of not reach for food or sort of go into that bingey
Yes.
pattern again.
Yes, so if I can get to it first and then also, like, working with my inner child before that too, because I'm realizing there's different fears that are coming up, fears of not being good enough or, making mistakes and just really talking myself through that and reparenting myself and realizing what other people think I'm doing the best I can and really just working through it before it gets to that point.
Yeah, absolutely. Has anything surprised you, Shanda, whilst kind of doing this work? Anything that, yeah, that's just been surprising?
Yeah. Yeah, it went much deeper than I ever had would have dreamed. So when I first started the program, I was like, great, I'm gonna learn how to not emotionally eat, how to not binge eat. But it goes much deeper. There's layers to it. And I feel like I'm very deep in those layers now, the further that I've gone. And there's a lot of healing that I have to do with abandonment, with different aspects of my past that I really need to address now. And so yeah, it's like peeling an onion, and so I feel like I'm closer to the core.
Which is amazing.
Yes, yes.
Okay, one of the
Yeah.
final question. What would you say to someone who's thinking about joining the program?
Oh, this is the part that is so frustrating to me because I've recommended your programs to so many ladies around me that are in that diet culture and think that that perfect size is going to change their life. And I see the different patterns where I know this program would help them, but there's that resistance. So I try to tell them one step at a time. You don't have to be perfect. It's not all or nothing. It's, you're learning yourself. You're really learning how to handle your emotions and how to process your beliefs and really just question what you want in life. And so that's what I really tell them. One of my friends did sign up. She has a huge resistance to doing the work. And so I've thought, how can I say this differently to her? What can I say different? What are her fears? And so I feel like that can be hard. It can be really hard when there's people that you see the program could really benefit, but they have this fear, this huge resistance to change.
If you were speaking to someone with that fear of resistance to change, which is really common, right? You've just picked up on a really big
Yeah.
thing that I see all the time.
Yeah.
What kind of words of encouragement would you give someone who's like, I think I want to join the program, but I've got so
Yeah.
much fear to change, there's so much resistance. Anything that you'd say to
Yeah.
them, Shanda?
Yeah. I would say get in the program and just listen. There's no expectation to act right away. Just start observing what we're talking about, paying attention to the different epiphanies that other people are having, and just be in the group listening. Because there's a lot of people that are going through the same things that you are, that they're having these light bulb moments and they're really learning how to shift their life. So just being there and being present is the first step.
Amazing. And I'm guessing for you, kind of looking back, would
Yeah.
you have imagined that you're where you are now compared to where you were back then?
I never would have dreamt that my life would be what it is today. I couldn't have imagined it. I remember doing the future you meditation and dreaming all these wonderful things, and I was like, I'm just going to give it a go. We're going to see where this goes. And the things that I dreamt are actually coming to fruition, and it's amazing to see.
I'm so
Yeah.
pleased. I think I want to cry.
I am just so grateful to you. I have so much gratitude to you, really, the work that you do and the way that you present it, the educational piece that you provide, I think is huge for me too. I have to understand it before I can fully trust it. And you do a wonderful job with educating us and then giving us the tools to actually put it into action.
Oh, thank you so much.